Joe Biden is breaking out the big guns. He's breaking out Hillary Clinton, which I guess could literally refer to guns. You know, you don't want to end up on the wrong side of Hillary Clinton. Allegedly. Look, I'm not making any claims, okay? Hillary Clinton is now coming out and supporting Joe Biden. I'll give it to you in her own words.
I want to send a message to every survivor of sexual assault. Don't let anyone silence your voice. You have a right to be heard, and you have a right to be believed.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. That's an old clip. That was after Hillary spent decades smearing her husband's sexual victims and before she endorsed an increasingly credibly accused possible sexual assailant. So, sorry, that was, I don't know, she's kind of moved on past that now. Now she is endorsing Joe Biden. And why is Hillary endorsing Joe Biden? What's the point of endorsing Joe Biden? She actually says the part that you're not supposed to say out loud. She says, like so many other liberals and leftists say, that you should never let a crisis go to waste.
This is a high stakes time because of the pandemic, but this is also a really high stakes election. And every form of health care should continue to be available, including reproductive health care for every woman in this country. And then it needs to be part of a much larger system that eventually and quickly, I hope, gets us to universal health care. So I can only say amen to everything you're saying, but also to, again, enlist people that this would be a terrible crisis to waste, as the old saying goes. We've learned a lot about what our absolute frailties are in our country when it comes to health justice and economic justice. So, let's be resolved that we're going to solve those once you're elected president.
Here's the logic. The reason to endorse Biden is not because Biden is going to make some great president. Joe Biden looks like he's falling asleep during her endorsement, if you watch the clip. The reason to endorse Biden is because this is a good opportunity for a Democrat to win. The economy has crashed because the government made it crash. And so it's a good chance, and Joe's the only chance they've got. So, okay, we're going to go and endorse Joe Biden. Obviously, some people are not thrilled about this endorsement, namely Tara Reade, the woman who is accusing Joe Biden of sexual assault decades ago. Here's what Tara Reade had to say about the endorsement. Quote, "I voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. I voted for her in the primary. I'm a lifelong Democrat. But yet, what I see now is someone enabling a sexual predator, and it was my former boss, Joe Biden, who raped me. Hillary Clinton has a history of enabling powerful men to cover up their sexual predatory behaviors and their inappropriate sexual misconduct. We don't need that for this country. We don't need that for our new generation coming up that wants institutional rape culture to change." She added, "I will not be smeared, dismissed, or ignored. I stand in truth and I will keep speaking out." Now, look, a pretty strong statement. Obviously, much more credible than other accusations we've heard against other politicians. We'll get to the comparison in a moment. But she's making some pretty serious claims. Don't forget, we didn't hear anything about this publicly for decades. Then initially, when she came out about a year ago, she said Joe Biden just sort of made her uncomfortable, that he was inappropriate, it was very vague. Then she said that he sexually assaulted her, and now she's saying he raped her. Those are different things, right? I mean, it's he didn't go all the way in terms of the accusation that she's making, or at least has been making over the last month or so. But he did do the thing that, ironically, Democrats were upset that Trump joked about. He grabbed her by the you-know-where. And, the Democrats spent 4 years complaining that Trump joked about that. Now you've got a guy being accused of actually doing that. Then Tara Reade goes on and says that we have a rape culture. That is a claim that I don't think very many people would agree with, that there's a rape culture in America, that the campus of Harvard University is actually more dangerous for women than downtown Baghdad or something. I don't think people really believe that. So we have to keep perspective. We don't want Republicans to just be like Democrats and use this as pure craven opportunism. However, there is some evidence to back up this woman's claims. First of all, Joe Biden, in trying to answer these charges, defending the Hillary Clinton endorsement, answering the allegations against him, he just as usual keeps putting his foot in his mouth. Imagine the worst phrasing to use if you're trying to change the subject from the sexual assault allegations against you back to a political issue like the economy. Imagine the worst possible word choice. That's what Biden gives you.
I would get much more engaged in the world. We can't step back. If, in fact, for example, we solve the problem in the United States of America and you don't solve it in other parts of the world, you know what's going to happen. You're going to have travel bans. You're going to not be able to have economic intercourse around the world. There's a lot. Look, when America goes alone, when America is first, it's America alone.
Economic intercourse? You are trying to change the subject from the sex stuff about you. You're trying to turn it back to the economy, which is not particularly sexy. That's probably a good idea. Turn it back to that. And so you use the phrase intercourse? That's not even a phrase people use. But Joe Biden just can't help himself. The only reason that he can get away with it, the reason he's so comfortable getting away with it, is he knows that the media won't cover it. How long have these allegations been out now? Weeks? Months? And yet the mainstream media will not cover it. Actually, the nearest thing we got to anyone covering it was on Telemundo in Spanish.
El apoyo llega en un momento en que Biden, senador por Delaware, enfrenta acusaciones de asalto sexual de parte de una empleada de su oficina cuando él actuaba como senador en la década de los 90.
My Spanish is not exactly great, but sounds like they're talking about how a former staffer is accusing him of these sexual allegations. You don't see that on CNN. You don't see that on MSNBC. You don't see that on all the stations that aired weeks and weeks of 24/7 coverage over Christine Blasey Ford and Julie Swetnick and Michael Avenatti, all accusing Justice Brett Kavanaugh. You don't see that at all. University of Delaware is covering this up too. University of Delaware has Joe Biden's papers. So if there are documents pertaining to the firing or the departure of this woman, Tara Reade, from the Biden staff, if there are documents pertaining to any kind of settlement or the allegations themselves, they're probably at the University of Delaware. University of Delaware won't open them up. They say the Senate documents are housed by the University of Delaware Library. They cover a wide swath of Biden's political career, but they are being kept secret until he retires from public life. Why is that? Probably because there's something a little dodgy in there, some ammo for his political opponents. Now, the would-be vice presidential candidate, Stacey Abrams, for her part, is defending Joe Biden. Here is our future imaginary vice president, who's the current imaginary governor of Georgia, Stacey Abrams.
Okay, as someone who wants to be his vice president, I think it's important that we speak about something that's in the news now.
Okay, hold on. First, 1 second. I got to take a break there. She's known as the person who wants to be vice president. She's not known as the governor of Georgia because she's not the governor of Georgia. She's not the state representative in Georgia. She's the woman who wants to be vice president. I love that that is basically the beginning and the end of her reputation. They go on.
As you know, there is a sexual assault allegation against Joe Biden. The accuser, her name is Tara Reade, tells CNN that the alleged incident happened in 1993 while she was working as an aide in Biden's Senate office. She is claiming that she was delivering Biden a duffel bag and says that Biden had her up against the wall in a corridor on the Hill and violated her with his fingers. Now, CNN has now spoken on the record with her former neighbor, who says Reade told her about the allegation within a few years of the alleged incident. Biden's campaign says untrue, never happened. Is this a credible allegation?
I believe that women deserve to be heard, and I believe that they need to be listened to. But I also believe that those allegations have to be investigated by credible sources. The New York Times did a deep investigation, and they found that the accusation was not credible. I believe Joe Biden.
I believe that women need to be believed and heard, but just not women who accuse Democrats, because the Democrat Party newspaper said that she's a liar, so she's a liar. And that's why I support Joe Biden. This woman, the cojones on this woman, are astounding. I love her. I hope she gets the running mate nod. I hope that she's going to be around on the national political scene for months and months. She is the gift that keeps on giving. Here's what Abrams said when Kavanaugh was accused in a much less credible way. She says, quote, after the courageous and compelling testimony from Dr. Christine Blasey Ford yesterday, it is shameful that Kavanaugh's nomination is being rushed forward. I believe women and I believe survivors of violence always deserve to be supported and to have their voices heard. Let's just do a little side-by-side comparison. Christine Blasey Ford had no documented relationship with Brett Kavanaugh whatsoever. Okay? Nothing linking those two people ever. Couldn't name the location or the date of the alleged incident, of the party at which this incident took place. Couldn't say who was at the party. Changed her story multiple times. Finally, when she did name a friend who was at the party, the friend said it didn't happen, that she didn't see it happen. Couldn't corroborate anything. Didn't have a single person to corroborate any part of the story, which had changed many times over the years. Got caught in multiple lies as well, some of which had to do with strange details like the architecture of her own house, which she said related to this incident. Nothing about her story held up. And she was by far the most credible accuser against Brett Kavanaugh. Compare that to Tara Reade. We know she had a relationship to Biden because we know she worked on his staff. Her mother called into the Larry King show the very month that she left the Biden staff and talked about some kind of incident involving a prominent U.S. senator. Tara Reade has a specific allegation that has not changed all that much. And Tara Reade has corroboration from a friend at the time. We talked about her yesterday. The friend said this did happen. Tara Reade is much, much, much more credible than Christine Blasey Ford. The allegations against Biden are much, much, much more credible than the allegations against Brett Kavanaugh. It is a scandal of the highest proportions that the mainstream media are trying to bury this story, that the New York Times is calling this woman a liar, that CNN and MSNBC will not run it, and that absolute cynical hacks like Stacey Abrams and Hillary Clinton and every other member of the Democratic Party are saying that this woman is not telling the truth. Okay. My standard of justice is not believe all women or believe all men. It's follow the evidence and give the accused due process. That's not the left standard of justice. They pretend to be defenders of women, and then they throw them under the bus. And we knew this during the Clinton era because Hillary was the one who did it. And then I guess some people forgot it for a few years, but it seems to me we're remembering this again. BuzzFeed right now has a piece out. They got the scoop that the Biden campaign is circulating talking points to tell the surrogates to say that this woman should not be believed. Okay, not a great look for his campaign, but it does expose something about our cynical political culture. If you enjoyed that video, and let's be honest, of course you did, I hope you did, be sure to hit the subscribe button so everyone wading through the wasteland of YouTube knows that we have the best content out there.